stage journeys, and then some. And now, here's your host, Gavan.
What's up, everybody? Guess where we're going? We're going back to La La Land again. Got to go back out there. I am bringing up this young lady. This lovely young lady right here is the daughter of my cousin Leo. And I've known her. Oh God, I knew her when I've met her when she was born. I've watched her grow up. I'm not even going to ask her how old she is now because that makes me feel old. Just so you know, Vanessa, I'm a year older than your dad. So just you can take that. So you can kind of figure it out from there.
So you are a boomer.
What's that?
You're a boomer. Technically, my dad
yes.
is the first year of Gen X.
Yes, he is. See, I was born, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you how close I was. I was born in December of the last year of the boomers. And so really, I kind of grew up with the Gen Xers, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
y'all are all cuspers. That's okay.
You're right on the cusp. This is the lovely Vanessa Marroquin Richardson. How are you, Vanessa?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks
you
for
just
having
look
me,
lovely as ever. Thank you for coming on. I've been trying to get you to come on forever, but you're so busy all the time. You guys.
Well, it's not like I had a baby 10 months ago. So.
Another thing I was going to tell you, I was going to say congratulations on that. I love her name.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you took her grandmother's name. That was so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Aunt Fina. She was a wonderful woman, and I thought that was really nice of you to do that. And how's that what's that goofy husband of yours? Oh, John. How's John doing?
John's doing great, man. He's living his best life. He's a social content creator for Gooder sunglasses. So he's just running around doing all kinds of silly things and having a ton of fun doing it.
Gooder sunglasses, they piss me off. I tried to get them. We had at one time Tracy had a men's store, and it was called The Rugged Man, and we carried a lot of hunting stuff. We just carried all kinds of clothing and stuff for outdoorsy stuff. And I went to Gooder because I wanted to have their sunglasses in the store.
Yeah.
And I went online, filled out everything, and told them what it was, and sent pictures of the front counter. They wanted all that stuff, and they came back and said no. We're looking for places that are, more outdoorsy type thing. And I was like going, what? And I didn't know this. And then I was talking to your dad one day, and he told me what John was doing. And I said, I'm mad at them. They turned us down. And I thought,
how many years ago was that, do you think?
Oh gosh, that's been like 3 or 4 years now that happened.
I wonder if you could go back, because now they've started putting out tons more styles. So there used to be just like a core 5 or 6 styles. And they really were targeting, they still are, but like athletics, sports, their whole thing is like they're really fashionable, functional, lightweight running. Sunglasses, active eyewear. But now they've come out with so many more styles. I think they have they're rolling out like 20 new styles next year, like totally new frames and everything. So I feel like they're kind of expanding their reach. Now they're in Target. So I would just reach back out again, because I think they've kind of changed their thing.
She closed the store, so it doesn't matter now.
Oh, okay. So never mind. We'll just send you some. We'll just send you some.
Tell John just to send me some so we can, we can do that. So
we will.
So I did not know this, but your husband was in a Little Caesars commercial?
Yeah.
Your dad posted that. I did. Your dad posted it the other day on social media, and I went, what is this? And I opened it up, and it was like, and there's John being swung around. I said, what is going on? And this beast has got him in his hand. When did that come out?
Yes. Beyond just being a social content creator, he's an actor as well. I'm an actor, a voice actor. That's why we're out here in LA. And that was a gig that he booked earlier this year. He booked that in like March, something like that. And yeah, it's a Little Caesars commercial. It was for the Fantastic Four movie that
That's what
came
I
out this
thought.
summer. Yeah.
Yes.
So like Fantastic Four did a deal with Little Caesars where you can buy their Fantastic Four pizza. And so John was the Little Caesars pizza salesman. And I think because the Fantastic Four movie is kind of retro, the one
Mhm.
that just came out, it takes place in like I don't really know. I haven't seen it. But it's not like modern day. He got to put on this like really cool retro, cardigan pizza delivery boy hat, little paper hat, and he did all of his own stunts. So they were in a huge warehouse studio here in the valley, and he had to go the day before, and they trained him on the harness and figured out what his weight was, how they could counterbalance it. And they put this big green or blue inflatable ring around him so that his hands could have something to rest on. So when they CGI'd the monster that grabs him and swings him around, his hands are in the right place and they can animate around that.
Yeah.
And he did that for several hours and they just whipped him around. And he said it was the hardest thing, also the funnest, though. But yeah,
Well, I
that came
saw
out
it.
this summer in June.
Yeah,
It
and I
aired.
saw it. Your dad posted. I saw it, and I went. I was looking at him. I said, "He looks like he's 12. That's not right." But and so he's got that, and we'll talk about him later. I want to talk about you. I don't want to talk about him. We'll catch up. No, I've got some other stuff I want to talk to you about him after a while. But early on, okay, the last time I saw you in person was at your wedding. So
Yeah,
yeah, and that's how long have you guys been married now?
10 years.
10 years. Wow. I think tomorrow or the next day is 22 for Tracy and I.
Wow, congratulations.
Time, I think. Feels like a lifetime anyway, but don't tell her
Yeah.
that. But when you guys got out of did either one of you guys work at Disney at any time? Okay.
I wanted to. That was kind of an idea I had had during college. I wanted to do the Disney College program. But I ended up switching schools and doing all that stuff. And I was like, no, I don't want to take more time to graduate than I need to. So
I remember you talking about it at one time years ago. I think you were still in school and you had talked about going to Disney and I didn't know because I worked with
But
several people that were Disney.
yeah. Well, what I did do was party princesses. So I would dress up as Disney princesses for entertainment for an entertainment company and do that for birthday parties.
Okay,
So
that's cool. That's
yeah.
still, that's good for the kids. Hey,
Yeah.
money's money. Well, you know what?
That's right.
I,
That's right. And I
you
would
know,
make a lot of money.
I worked with I did D23 one year. The first year they did
Nice.
D23 in out there in Anaheim, and I found out something really quick. Like Mickey and Minnie and a lot of those characters, those are all females, and I had no idea. And so we were talking. I saw somebody said, "Why all the females?" They said, "Because they're smaller. We have to have smaller people for these costumes." And I had no idea, but D23 in itself was just a it wasn't a club. Well, it kind of made me mad because when we got there, we had our meetings and stuff, and the first thing they said was absolutely no photos are to be taken by anybody. No one. If you
Right.
take any photos, you're off the call. They would just they'll walk you out. And knowing that Disney owns ABC, they own the Muppets, they own ESPN. So we were
The
dealing
world.
with all this. Yeah. And pretty much. And what made me mad was I was sitting at my desk one day and they were doing this gag on the stage. It was a big giant, it looked like a big giant paddle boat or an old river boat. And one of the big Muppet monsters was pushing it. And then all the Muppets were outside the windows singing as they were pushing it across the stage. And so they decided they were going to rehearse the song and everything. And so they were surrounding my desk. And I had Miss Piggy, I had Kermit, I had Grover. Everybody was around my desk. And I'm screaming, going, I can't take a picture of this. This is not right. And Tracy even called me. She goes, she goes, what's wrong? You sound like, and I said, I've got all these Muppets and I can't take a picture of anything. I cannot do a thing about this. And luckily, and then, before that, I actually got to work with Big Bird one time, but yeah, that's a different story. But D23 was nuts. But most of the people that I know that worked at Disney didn't they weren't real thrilled about it. They did it, but they didn't think it was that great of an experience. They said it was just a lot to it and a lot going on that you just don't know, all the behind the scenes stuff.
People working for the parks or just for Walt Disney Company in general?
I think it was the parks mostly. Was the guys that I dealt with. So, and my sponsor.
Yeah, I've heard
Debbie.
a lot about that. Hey.
But so you didn't go there, and you did that. Now, where were you doing this party group thing? Where was that?
That was in Austin.
Oh, you were in Austin. Okay. How long were you in Austin for?
I was in Austin for 5 years after I graduated high school. It was a great experience. I love Austin. I really do. I think it's an awesome spot. Now it's gotten a little different. When I was there a decade ago, it still had its charm.
Yeah.
And I've been there a couple times since, and it's just so corporate and touristy.
Well, after the IT started moving in and taking over, and I didn't know this. Do you know there's over 1 million people that live in Austin now? And I didn't know this. I looked it up the other day. We were talking about it, and my mother asked, she goes, how big is Austin? I said, hold on, let me look it up. And there's over 1 million people there. And I thought, I couldn't believe it.
Wild.
But that was from, all the IT movement and stuff. But Austin was okay. I'm like you, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was great. It was fun, but it just got a little too corporate, a little too, I don't know. I could say something else, but I won't do that because I'm going to be nice because I don't want your dad yelling at me. So then
it lost its weird. It lost its weird.
Yeah, I think you're right. It did. It's not what it used to be by any means. It's completely changed. And now they've torn the convention center down. Now it's gone. They because I've got a lot of the company I used to work for. We had a branch in Austin, and so I talk to those people all the time, and they tore the convention center down. What they're doing is they're going to be in the same place, but they're digging down, and they're going to go underground with part of it, and then come up and do that. But that's not for. I think they're predicting that'll be like 2 to 3 years before that's done, and they just tore it down this year or so. I think they finished South by Southwest, and then they start tearing it down after that. So who knows where it's going now? We'll wait and see. Then you guys went to New York. When did you go to New York?
2015.
Why the hell did you go to New York? I don't get that. Do people really go to New York on purpose to live? I don't know.
They do. Would you believe it?
Oh my! I can't.
They do that. It's crazy. Yeah. We got married in December of 2014. I finished my last semester of college, May of 2015, and then we packed up everything we owned in 4 suitcases and flew out to New York City with nowhere to live and no jobs. The only thing we knew we were doing was in September, we were starting classes at the William Esper Studio, which is a Meisner-based acting studio that was founded by the late, great William Esper. John studied with him. He was his last class that he taught before he passed away, William Esper, and I had class with his wife, Suzanne. And it was the craziest experience ever. If you can do that, you can do anything. If you can move to one of the biggest cities in the world and not have anywhere to live, no jobs, nothing like that, just living on a dream, and you do it, I mean,
Hey,
there's nothing
you know
stopping
what?
you.
You know what? My hat's off to you two for doing it, because I would have never done it. But you guys, like you said, you packed it up and you didn't know what you were going to do. You didn't know where you were going to stay. You didn't know anything. But sometimes that pays off, and you know,
It
you learn
does.
a lot doing that. So, but
Would I do that
I
again? No, probably not, because I'm smarter and I'm
yeah,
wiser
because you're
and I'm
older
older.
you're older and smarter. That's why you don't do it. No, I wouldn't even when I was young. I just New York it's different. And you know, I grew up in a small town, and I couldn't do it. There's just no way I could have lived up there. A friend of mine got married, and he got married up in New York. He was up in just a little north outside of the city. But of course, we had the bachelor party in New York, and oh, God, we could write a book on that one. That
That's
was
crazy, I'm sure. Yeah.
that was ugh, that was a crazy one. But but you just never know what you're going to see.
You
Walking
don't.
around in New York. I told this story to somebody else. I was walking down the sidewalk because everybody had to go. Most of the people that were there were in the wedding party, so they had to go to the rehearsal dinner. Well, I wasn't in the wedding party. I just went up there to hang out with them, and so I stayed in the town. I stayed in the city while they took off and went, because I was so hungover, I didn't want to move really. I just wanted to lay down at a park bench or something. And B, I couldn't go anyway, and so I kind of got my wits about me, and just started roaming around and checking the city out. And I was walking along, and there was a guy that was just a little off to the right of me, just a few steps back, and he was wearing these snakeskin cowboy boots, and he's just tooling along, and I just catch him out of the corner of my eyes, and I couldn't see who it was. And so I finally slowed down and let him catch up so I could see who it was. Well, it was little Steven. It was Bruce Springsteen's guitar player. And I'm like going, "Hey." And he went, "Hey, what's going on?" I went, "I just wanted to say, hey." That's all I could do. Like a fanboy, I was like, "Going, that's little Steven, man." But you just never knew who you were going to run into up there. But, well, so how long were you guys up there in New York?
We weren't there for too long. We were there for about 2 years to do the school. And when we were coming up on the end of our second year, we had to just kind of think real hard about what we wanted. So when the program was over, we could either stay or we could leave and try to go to LA. And we decided, I think the right move is to leave and go live in Hideaway, Texas with John's family. His grandmother had a house over there. She was moving into assisted living, so her home was available. And she offered it to us to stay rent-free while we saved up money to move to LA. And so we thought that was what the move was. That's what we were being called to do. And it felt right. So we packed up everything, back up, sent some stuff on an Amtrak. That's a very handy way to move boxes of belongings, by the
Well,
way.
I'm sure,
Amtrak.
yeah.
So we sent those off on the Amtrak to get to Dallas in a few weeks, and we moved back home for I think we were in Texas like 10 months or something like that. And then moved out
Now,
to LA
when
in
you moved out
18.
to LA, you figured LA that was going to be probably the best move for you, what you were getting yourself into. I think for both of you guys, because I talking to my friend Alicia about her. She and her husband live in Burbank, and I asked her. I said, what's going on with Hollywood, and it was kind of a laugh, because I was talking to a friend of mine one time, and he was doing a show out in California, and I said, how's everything going? He goes, well, the labor's really weird. And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, we've got a lot of television and film people that are coming over to the AV side. And I went, really? And so I asked her about it, and she says, they're not working out in
Yeah, there's no
Hollywood.
work right now. Yeah.
No. And she said, and I said, well, what about New York? And she said, no, it's all over. And I don't know if you knew, but Paramount and Taylor Sheridan just built a monstrous studio just up north of Fort Worth here.
Okay, interesting.
It's big. It's like 600,000 square feet. And of course, Sheridan he lives like 30 minutes from where we live. And I was talking to a friend of mine who lives over where Sheridan lives, and he lives over by there. And I said, do you ever see him? He goes, no, he's got all this property out there. He's built a sound studio out there. I think he told me they filmed most of 1823 out there in Weatherford.
Wow.
And I said, really? And I said, what did they do about all the river crossing stuff? He goes, well, that's the Brazos. They just pick different spots and just cross over the river and make it look like something. So
Right.
that's movies at work. But yeah,
1823, that's the Yellowstone,
that
right?
was that was the Yellowstone for the first part of the family when they traveled across the United States and got to where they were, and that was I Yellowstone to me, and I told my friend Alicia this is all the B-roll stuff. Watching the show was great, but to watch all the B-roll footage was just amazing. It's the most beautiful stuff that you've seen. And I told her, I said, I would just be enamored with that sometimes. I would just sit and watch the background stuff and go, wow, look at that. That's cool. And, and stuff. And to know that those guys had to
John's
live
been
out there to do
auditioning
that.
for one of those shows. One of those there's like
the new
the 1823, and there's a new one.
The new one that's coming out is going to be the one with Rip and Beth. And they're already shooting it because Rip was seen at a friend of mine's store the other day. He was here in town because they're shooting it in here. They're shooting it here, another little town right outside from us called Rio Vista. And then there's another town that's about 10 miles on the other side of us. And I don't remember the name of it, but they're shooting there too. So, but they were here or were they here early this week? I think Tracy said they may have been early this week. They're using our Sheriff's Rodeo Arena out here, and they've been shooting out. They've been shooting out here, and people are freaking out because the roads are all. And I said, guys, they're shooting a movie. It's going to be a cluster. Just stay away from there, because they were closing the roads. They were doing all this mess, but they've already started shooting stuff out here. So
that's awesome. Texas needs to bring back, film.
Well, they are, and now that they've built that studio, and Arthur told me that he had sent tapes in for the one that's being shot out here, and he was waiting for a callback. He thought he was going to get a callback on it, so I hope he does. I'd really like to see. And
I would love John to book some stuff that shoots out in Texas. That would be so nice to be able to go out there.
come back to Texas.
Well, I don't know about that.
Do you have to be in LA to do your stuff?
It's a good question. Well, it's a good question. I mean, yes and no, right? My dad's doing the same thing. He started doing voice acting in his retirement, and he's in McAllen. So yeah, I mean, you can. But I do a lot of animation and video game work, and a lot of those folks still want to do in studio, which I will gladly do. And there's just a lot of work in those industries still location specific. So that's,
Yeah,
that's why I
I've
want to
another
stick
friend of
around.
mine. She's and I'm not hip to the gaming stuff and to this. You know, I do this, but and this is Debbie is it's a popular drink amongst gamers and stuff. But they said, they gave it to me and said, "Hey, talk about us and we'll do this." And I said, "Okay, so if you guys want it, just I'll give you the code later." Anyway, doing my commercials. But yeah, she's going to come on and we're going to talk about anime and gaming and all
Okay.
that. She's
Yeah.
into this stuff, and I know nothing about it, so she's going to have to educate me on it for a lot. Now, one thing I want to talk to you too about is your little short videos you used to do. You remember? You remember those, don't you? Yeah.
Are you talking about our sketch comedy stuff that we do? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where are you? Do you have that stuff posted anywhere?
Well, yeah. So, my husband and I, John, so he's John, I'm Vanessa. We do sketch comedy on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. So you can find all of those there. And we are called It's Vagina, because my name is Vanessa, and Vanessa and John together makes one vagina. Um,
Why am I not surprised at all? I'm not.
yeah. So yeah, we've had a lot of fun doing that, a lot of great success doing that too. So yeah, if you go in Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, it's .vagina. Just it's vagina. We've had a couple of viral hits and we're still making them. We slowed down just a little bit when Lila was born. But we just posted one last week. And we have another one in the can that we're going to get edited and out pretty soon. And hopefully we can ramp back up to weekly. It's just,
Well,
kind of
I will
hard when you
tell
got a baby.
I'll tell everybody this. My favorite one is the fortune cookie one.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a
Yeah,
really good one.
that was a good. When I saw that, I went, "Look at these two geniuses here." That was great. And
That was all John. That one is all John. So
was that all?
the way we work is John does the writing. I'll come up with ideas too, but he's the writer. And then we were shooting ourselves, so just the two of us. When I was pregnant, we were doing this. Now we have a guy who helps us and he does camera stuff, so it goes a lot faster. But I mean, I'm just the actress. He does the filming, the editing. This is kind of his baby. It's our project together, but he really owns it. And we'll just kind of like riff off of each other, improv a little bit, but most of it's pretty scripted, and we'll form the ideas together as well. But we have quite a bit of content out there now. But yeah, the fortune cookie one, that was one that he had written for a while, and I'll just to not spoil it for anyone, go check it out. It's going to be one
Yes.
of our earlier videos. But it's a guy and a girl on a date, and they're opening up their fortune cookies and being cute and flirty, and hers is like, you're gonna make a good friend or whatever, right? Like it's
Yeah,
romantic
something
or
mushy.
whatever,
Yeah.
and something mushy. And then he opens his, and it is mushy in a different way,
Yeah.
and causes him to pause and not want to continue on with the date. because for fear that fortune might come true.
Well, it was funny when you got up and said, "Let's dance. Come on, I feel like dancing." And that's where I lost it. And he did so well with that. Everybody, you guys have just go on YouTube, look for Vagina. I got to be careful how I say that. Vagina, and just check it out. And you've got to watch the fortune cookie one. That was so funny. I just died laughing when I saw that. He did so well with that.
I'm so
And
glad. Thank you so much.
yeah, no, it was great. Now I got to go back on now because I didn't know he had a bunch more posted. I'm so behind on everything, so I'm gonna have to catch up and see what's going on.
There's a lot.
With yeah, there's a lot. So now you're doing voices, and where do I go with this? What voices are you doing? Because I have tried to follow you some, but I don't quite know where you are as far as the voices go. Are you doing animation stuff, or are you do? I mean,
Yeah, I'm doing
is
a
that,
lot
is
of
that what you're doing?
animation. Yeah. So you can go to my website as well, vanessamarroquin.com. And if you don't know how to spell that, just look at the host's name on this podcast and you'll figure out how to spell it. Yeah, so I've been doing this almost a decade now, but full time, full throttle, about 8 years. And I started off doing a bunch of everything, right? Because that's just kind of how it goes in this industry. So I was doing a lot of commercial work. I was doing a lot of boring, like telephony and corporate narration stuff. But if you can't tell, my voice is really works very well for younger audiences. And that's where I started finding my groove and my niche. And the first big project I did that started gaining me some kind of notoriety or name or whatever it was called Slick Slime Sam, which is a YouTube show. I did that show from 2017 to 2021. I left the show in 2021. And when I left the show, there's about 8 million followers at that point.
Whoa.
Yeah. And the folks who hired me for that, there was no real concept of who these characters were. The idea was that there was a little slime character and then a girl who you would never see her face. It would just be her hands, and they would do crafts together. So there was a little bit of like a narrative storyline, but then also instructional and educational for kids. And you could follow along at home and do these crafts. So Sue was the girl, and she's the one teaching, right, how you do the crafts, and you only see her hands. And then Sam will come in and be silly and goofy and wacky and mess things up or whatever. And that's the character that kids love. Super funny, super silly, but there was no real concept for it when I was hired. So I just kind of threw stuff at the wall when I did my audition. All I knew, it was a little slime. Okay. And then we just want a pleasant voice for the Sue character. Okay. And I just kind of did the first thing that came out of my mouth with Sam, and he was kind of like this. This is what he sounds like. And I just had a lot of fun with it. And I ended up really tailoring who those characters were and their relationships. So as we went on, this was a company that was based out of Russia. Hi. Say hi, Tracy. Yeah,
I
so
tell her what time I'm recording, and she has to come check on me anyway.
You're good. Yeah, so over time, they just started kind of writing to what I was doing. And there was a lot of freedom in it too for me to kind of make it my own, kind of rewrite some stuff so that it felt more natural and colloquial in a way because they were Russian and translating it from Russian into English. So there was some weird stuff that would happen in the translation process. And it was a great working relationship for many years until it wasn't. And once it wasn't, I said, I'm done.
Wow.
And I took off. Yeah.
So what are you doing now? What kind of voices are you doing now?
Yeah, so I do a lot of animation still for kids mostly. So I am several voices within Barbie, the Barbie franchise. There's a new line of Barbie dolls called the Dream Besties, and I am one of those 4 main girls, Teresa. She is a Latina gamer girl, and there's a whole show out on YouTube that you can watch by Mattel called Barbie Dream Besties, and you can buy, those dolls in stores, and they're so cute, so fun. And so I voiced Teresa in that. I voiced some other Barbies in other shows for Barbie. And then I did Hot Wheels as well. I'm a character in Hot Wheels City. Her name is Sophia. She's a badass racer chick, and she needs a blast to fast. She's the fastest racer in Hot Wheels City. And then I'm a Bratz doll as well. So you have Barbie and then you have Bratz. And I'm Yasmin in Bratz. So you can hear me doing those new shows, Always Bratz, some of their stuff on social media. And then there's a new video game coming out with the Bratz franchise that I'm in as well. And then I've done some stuff for Nickelodeon. I've done some stuff for Moonbug, a lot of singing stuff for kids. Yeah, a lot of different things. A whole lot of different
busy.
things.
You've been busy.
Yeah.
Unlike your movie star husband, what was he? Oh, he did
Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop, the last one, because
Axel Foley.
he spoke for what, a whole 5 seconds or something, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, he was one of the 911 dispatchers in the very beginning.
I remember that.
You go like 7 minutes in, there he is, and then you don't have to watch the rest.
Yeah, you've seen it. Once you've seen him, it's done. Yeah, I told Tracy, I said, get ready, he's coming up, and there it was, and he goes, and I think it was, you're chasing, or you're being chased by a cement truck or a snowplow or something, and then that was it. And she goes, where else is he going to be? I said, that was it. I said, we've seen it. And she goes, so we turned it off.
The funny thing is right, you don't need to. They included that piece in the trailer. So in the trailer of the movie is John's whole scene.
They don't even have to watch the whole movie. They can just watch the trailer and they can see John do his part right there. Yeah, just do that. That's so funny when I saw that. So along with him working with the sunglass company, I mean, so he's pursuing acting as well. So he's going out and trying to do his thing on that as well and try to stay busy with it. I congratulate him, on that Little Caesars commercial. I thought that was pretty cool, to get on a national commercial. That's pretty cool to do that.
It was so cool. And it unfortunately was one of those commercials that show up when you're watching Hulu or Prime or Disney or whatever streaming service you're on. It would show up and keep showing up and keep showing up for many people. And we would have so many friends like, John, you won't leave my TV. I have seen your commercial.
Get off my TV.
So many times.
I had never seen it, and then your dad posted it, and I watched it, and I said, "Where was this?" I wasn't paying. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. I don't know. because now you look at you watch commercials now, and you just see all these A stars doing
Yeah.
commercials and stuff. But when I asked about that, like Alicia told me, she says there's nothing going on. They're just doing this to make money. And I said, well, I get that,
Yeah.
because I started, you know, Tracy and I watched that game show called The Floor. And
Oh, uh-huh.
so I was just messing around one day, and I don't know what I was doing. I saw something about it, so I started looking at it, and I said, where are they recording this? And they shoot that in Ireland. And so I asked my friend about that, and I said, they shot this game show in Ireland. She goes, oh, they're doing a lot of that, because they do Bridgerton in the UK, and she's out there for 7 months when they shoot that. She goes out for like 3.5 months. Then she gets to come home for a month. Then she's got to go back out and finish it for the other 3 months or 3.5 months. And I thought, my gosh, she said, and I said, and I'm noticing there's a lot of other shows that are big. I saw another show that we watched, and I remember what it was. They shoot it in Australia. And so I asked her, why are they doing it? And she said, well, because they're getting better rates out there. It's cheaper. And I was reading that they said for The Floor, there's like 100 contestants, and they can send everybody out there along with the crew that they need. And it's cheaper to keep all 100 people out there for the entire run of the show while they shoot it. And it's still cheaper than doing it in California. And I thought, wow, that's something going on there. So, and I
Yeah.
wasn't,
I mean, I know recently we've had some stuff be passed for some new tax incentives, and there's this whole effort to bring film back to LA. So hopefully that works. But this entire city is built on the entertainment industry. And when that
yeah,
goes down, so does everything else. I mean, it's not just the folks that are in front of the camera or behind the camera or gaffing or doing that. It's restaurants and catering companies
sure.
and trucking companies. And I mean, it's everywhere. It's everyone. So it's really sad. And it hurts.
I'm
You
sure it
you
does.
want to, yeah.
You've got friends in the business, I'm sure. And, to see them struggle with all this, because my friend told me, she said that a lot of people are just leaving the industry altogether. They're just getting out of it and doing something else, because, and, but, she stuck with it. But, I think she and I started working together in 2009. She was just a camera operator, but she was still DPing on some like smaller, independent films and stuff. And then um, she got noticed on something, and they picked her up she went to Grey's Anatomy for a couple of seasons, and then she did something else. And then she got picked up at Bridgerton, and that's all she's doing now. But, well, now that she's home, she's looking to find what work she can around there. But, she said it's just not, it's not there. They're few and far between. And
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense why these actors, these major actors, are doing commercials and stuff now, because I guess they got to keep working, because I know it's not cheap to live out there. Bless y'all's hearts
No,
for
it is
living
not.
out there. That's why I say, come back to Texas. You can do, you tell John that
You and my
tell
dad.
tell John that Sheridan's built that brand new studio over here in Fort Worth. He can come work out over here.
All right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll have to see where the tide takes us. Right now, there's a lot of great opportunity in content creation. Uh, and he's really great at that. I really enjoy content creating as well. So we'll just have to see where that takes us.
Well, your your little videos that you guys do, those are just crack me up. Those are amazing. And everybody, you guys got to go see those for sure. How long have you guys been out in LA now?
We just celebrated, let's see, we moved out September of 2018. 7 years.
7 years. Wow.
7 years.
Yeah. Because you guys came home, you went home during the fires. I saw that you and John had left
We
and
did.
went home for the fires because it kind of didn't it get kind of close to you guys?
It did, yeah. It got pretty close, and Lila was only 2 months old. So we were just concerned about air quality mostly. Our building's also really old and doesn't have great ventilation, and we just didn't want to deal with all of that. So we actually, what had happened was the Palisades fire was making its way, right? And we were kind of like, okay, I mean, we can kind of wait it out because we're in the valley. We're in Sherman Oaks, but we're right at the base of the hills. So we live on the other side of the Hollywood Hills. Um, not not very far at all. So if any fire were to come over those hills, that would be pretty touchy for us. Palisades fire was not going to be coming close to us, we thought. But that night we were talking to some friends and they're like, yeah, I mean, maybe just prepare a bag just in case, because it was starting to creep up to the 405 and we're just on the other side of the 405. We live right where the 405 and the 101 meet. So if it ever jumped the 405, we knew that there could be some trouble. As we were kind of talking about this, I was doing a walkthrough of our apartment just in case, so that if anything happened, I had something to show insurance. And we got a notification on the fire app that a fire had just started in Hollywood, in the hills. And it was spreading really, really fast. And we were like, well, okay, if they can't get that one under control, they're hardly getting Palisades under control. That's where everyone is right now. That's where all the resources are right now. Now this one's happening in the hills. And then there was another one that popped up in Studio City, not even a mile away from us. And that was like a house fire. It was just everything was going up in flames around us. And we said, no, we got to just go. So we went in the car. We packed up Lila, packed up all of our things, and just said, we're going to just drive away from LA and just see what we can do. So we went down to San Diego and spent a couple days in San Diego. And that was an okay staycation, not really. It was a little scary. But once it was time to decide, okay, is it time to go back? Because things just kept getting worse. The fire ended up making it over the Santa Monica Mountains. And the Santa Monica Mountains are what kind of separates that area from the West Valley. And so they were evacuating neighborhoods in Encino, and they started having all of those zones, right? There were different zones that they'd kind of mark off. And the zone directly next to us was in evacuation orders. So we were like, okay, we can't go back right now. And even if we stay here, the air quality is terrible. I can't have my 8-week-old baby in that environment right now. We just are going to have to wait until things kind of calm down and they get it all under control and the air quality goes back. So my parents were like, come. And we went. And
So you
spent
guys
a week
you
down
you
there.
guys drove down to the valley?
We flew. No, we
So I was
flew.
going to say, please tell me you didn't drive all the way over down there.
That's a 24-hour drive. We've
Yeah,
done
that's a
it.
long drive.
We've done it, but it's
That is a
24
long drive.
hours.
Yep. Long drive. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I'd want to do
It's
it.
kind of fun. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, when you're that age, though, you guys, you guys can have all the fun you want to have. It's I don't do much traveling anymore because I'm kind of stuck. I'm kind of stuck in the sitting position. I don't know if your dad told you or not, but my MS decided it wanted to mess with me a couple years ago, and it messed up my right leg. I don't walk anymore. I have to. I'm sitting in a wheelchair. I just hide it well, so
Yeah.
just. But I'm still drinking my Dubby, though. I can tell you that. That's
Well, there
for
you
sure.
go. I got to get me some Dubby.
Yeah, and it's let me see here if I can find it. I know it's there somewhere. Yeah, see, and if you go to their website and you use the code Epic Stage, you get 10% off. So remember that when you go to the W website. And they've got some pretty good. Some of the flavors they got are pretty good. So I'm drinking. I think this one's called Beach and Peach, but it's pretty good. And it doesn't make you all squirrely. It doesn't make you all wiry or anything like that. So, but apparently the gamers love it. So, and somebody asked me if I'd do it, and I said, yeah, I'll try it. See, it's not bad. I'm not wired or anything. So there we got that out of the way. What else we got here? I'm looking at my board here to see what else we're going to talk about here. Mom and Dad good? I haven't talked to your dad in a while. He and I usually sometimes we'll talk, a couple times a month, but I haven't talked to him in a while. He said last time I talked to him, he was, I don't even remember what they were doing, something. I told him I was trying to get you on. He said, just keep after her. She's busy. And I said, yeah, I know. Everybody's busy, especially all the show business people. I try to get them when I can because I got some friends that are coming off the Pantera tour now, and a couple of them I want to get on, but who knows when I'll get them. They're all probably beat by now, I'm sure. They've been out for almost 3 years, so. So what's next? You just going to keep doing voices, or are you going to start trying to do? Are you going to start trying to do some actual acting on film? As I said,
on camera.
Yeah, on camera.
Yeah. I mean, right now I'm just keeping on with voiceover. I coach as well, so I coach kids and adults in voiceover, and I also do some directing, some voice directing. So I've directed a season of a show for Barbie. I assistant directed Dream Besties, and then I have an audio drama that I directed coming out pretty soon. It's called Oblivion Girl by Skyride Studios. That one's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw on your social media page that you do some teaching and stuff, and I know you're teaching today. I think after we finish this, you've got something you've got to do after this. So you're just teaching people how to talk real high and squealy and make cartoons and stuff like that. So it's not your fault that you had the voice. You just, hey, you got the voice, you made it work. So, you can't, you can't hate that at all. Cause talking to Arthur last week, and I was looking at some of his pictures, and I said, you're not related to me by any way, shape, or form. And he goes, oh, well, that's not genetic. No, I told him, I said,
some of that is genetic, dude.
No, I'm telling you, I said, you are too pretty and too
really hard.
He told me he did. We talked about that a lot. He works out really hard, and he watches what he does. And I said, but I told him, I said, you're just too pretty and too well built to be related to me by any means. But I said, you're on the other side, so maybe that's what it is. But we had fun with him, and I got I've already made notes. Make a note. We got to watch Santa Jaws because it'll be coming up before long.
That's right. Yep, that's right. That's right.
He goes, do you watch? I said, I watch it every time it comes on. I'll watch it just so I can watch you get stabbed by the shark.
Shark. Yeah, that's epic.
Yeah,
Him
he
getting
was
impaled.
too fun. Yeah, and he's coming up. He's got something coming up on the 5th of October. He's on Hallmark Channel with something that he just
Awesome.
did. Yeah, he
We're gonna
told me
have to
about
see
that.
that.
So I told him, I said, let us know, remind me, because I told Tracy to remember because she watches, the Lifetime and the Hallmark and all that stuff. And I said, Arthur's going to be in a show there on the Hallmark. I said, so let's try to catch it and see. It's something he's like playing a football player or something. So I don't know what he's up to. I got all these family members in the business, and then there's just me, just doing my lowly little podcast that I'm doing here that your father talked me into. He and I need to have words anyway. So
how did that come about? How did he get you to do this? What was the thing?
Your dad and I, we kind of get into a thing where we'll call and check on each other now, because as we've gotten older, things start breaking and falling off and doing things. And so, and I know he had some issues, some back issues, and I did too. And so we were talking about that and, giving each other advice and what happened and stuff. And he, it just, we were talking one day about, I asked him, I said, have you ever sat and been talking to people and they ask you what you do and you start talking about what you do? And, I would tell people, because it was 40 years that, I was in some kind of entertainment, and people will go, and you tell them about something and they go, oh, well, you should write a book. And I'm thinking, I don't want to write a book. That doesn't even sound fun. And so your dad and I were talking about one day, and I said, yeah, people always tell me you need to write a book. And he goes, no. He goes, you need to do a podcast. And I went, okay. And I thought, and I said, well, what am I going to do? And so I kind of put feelers out, and I started sending stuff out because I got friends that are in bands, they're on the road, actors and, lighting guys and sound. And I'm just, and so I just started putting these blanket emails out to everybody. I said, what do you think about this? And everybody goes, oh yeah, do it. We'll be on it. We'll come on it. We'll come on and do it. And I said, okay. So I started working on it, and we got it rolling and everything. I think this one here, I think you're number 18. So we're getting close to 20. We're getting close to the 20 mark, but it's still, and most of it's, well, I basically have it on, I've got it on YouTube and I've got it on Spotify. Spotify, I don't think does as well as the YouTube one does. I get, it seems I get more activity on YouTube than I do with Spotify, but it's on both of those. And I just started doing it. And the first one I had was a friend of mine that used to be he was a deputy sergeant for the county just north of us. So, and he used to mess with me all the time because I owned a bar. He was security for me when I was running a venue in the DFW area. He was security for me there. And he and I just got to be really good friends. And then I owned a bar for a while, and he would mess with me there. And he was always messing with me all the time. And so I said, I got to have you on first. And I said, is there anything you don't want to talk about? And he goes, oh, hell no, we're talking about everything. And I thought, I don't know about this, because he's got way too much on me that I don't know if I want to talk to him or not. But he kind of knew where to go and where to stop and, and do things. But, and after that, it just kind of got nuts, and people just started jumping in and doing it. And, I've had friends and musicians, you're an actor, Alicia, her thing, and with Arthur, and I'm just bringing people on that have been in the industry in one way or another. And, just, want to just introduce people and bring them out. And so, but look, I have people in my family that are in show business. Ta-da! So there you go.
Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought? And who'd have thought it would be called vagina, though? That's what I'm not sure about. But I am.
We were like,
You
we
guys,
have to. It has to.
yeah, you guys, and I mean, I'm serious. You guys, if you now you're on YouTube. Are you on Spotify also? Okay, so you're on YouTube and
No.
Spotify.
No, not Spotify.
Not Spotify, okay. But you are on YouTube for sure, though. So just go on YouTube and look.
Instagram, TikTok.
Instagram and TikTok. TikTok, I can't deal with TikTok. I can't deal with that.
That's
That was
okay. It's not for everyone.
you young kids can deal with that. I can't deal with TikTok. That's too much for me. But vagina. Only you two could come up with something like that.
The best thing is making people say it.
I know. Say it, and you have to say it right too, because you get in a lot of trouble doing that. So where's John today?
He's working. He's working, doing his gooder stuff.
So he has an office job. He has to go to the office and work. He doesn't work from home.
Yeah, he
or
goes
anything.
twice a week.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's not too bad then.
It's not bad.
And he does all the content creating for them?
Yeah, so if you go on to Gooder and look at their social media stuff, he does a lot of that content.
He's probably the one that shot me down when I tried to get him to come in our store.
It definitely wasn't.
I told him, I said, if he's there, put him on. I want to talk to him. I want to talk to him about his Gooder stuff. He's something else. He's fun. I'm glad you guys hooked up. You guys kind of fit the niche. You guys are just, I think you guys think a lot alike too. When you're,
We do.
And I know, listen to you guys pitch ideas. I bet that's real interesting to listen to that too, when you guys are trying to come up with stuff.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, we've been together since I was 15. He was 16. So
really,
most of our yep, back in high school.
Wow, I didn't know you guys were in high school. Because I remember that the last time. Well, I saw you guys at the wedding. And I think the time before that, I was down there for a funeral, and I don't remember if it was Aunt Linda or if it was Grandma's.
My grandpa.
No, I didn't make Teobal's. I didn't make his funeral. I was in. I think I was in L.A. No, I wasn't. I was somewhere out west doing a show when I found out, and I called your dad immediately, and I said, I can't get there. I'm trying, but they at the last minute, I was trying to find a replacement to come out and fill in for me, and they couldn't do it, and so I was stuck. So I felt bad about that. I loved your grandfather to death. He was such a great guy. He always kept me out of trouble. He tried to keep me out of trouble as best he could.
Did you make it hard for him?
Not too. Only when he told us not to go to Mexico that one time, and where'd we go? We went to Mexico, and we got
in trouble.
We went with, who was the guy that lived across the street from your dad back in the day? Was it? It was Albert, wasn't it?
Albert, yeah.
Yes, Albert.
Suarez. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say
Albert Suarez. Okay. Albert, we were only 16 or 17. And I took my parents had one of those custom vans that were, all decked out with the bed inside and all this stuff, And they let us take the van. So my best friend in high school and we took the van and drove down to the valley from Louisiana. And I don't know what my parents were thinking, but we went, and
How old were you?
I was probably 16 or
That's
17.
crazy.
And we drove down there, and one night we were all going to go out and goof around and do something. And Teobaldi said, "Do not go to Mexico." And I said, "Okay, we won't go to Mexico." And then we picked up Albert, and it all went to hell from there.
Yeah.
So we drove to the border. We parked the van on the U.S. side, and then we caught a ride with some girl that Albert knew. She gave us a ride over, and we went to some bar, and so we were there a long time and having a good time, because you're 16 or 17 in Mexico. That don't mean anything. If you can order, they're going to give it to you. And so by the end of the night, Albert had talked to his friend, and they'd letting us ride back with her until he made her mad. And then she said, "No, you're not riding with me anywhere." And so here we are. It's myself, my friend Albert, and there was somebody else with us. Your dad wasn't with us; he wouldn't go. And
My dad was too goody two shoes, or what?
Yeah. we were living on the edge, and your dad was like, "Well, nope, I'm not going to do that." But we caught a ride with some other girl that Albert knew, but she was in a truck, so we had to ride in the back of the truck to get back over the border. And as we're coming through the border, one of the agents there recognized one of us. I don't remember who it was. I don't even remember who it was, if it was one of our family members or not. I don't remember, but he's looking at us, and we're all sitting in the back of the truck, and he goes, and we're all going, "We're U.S. citizens." And he's just looking at us going, "You guys go home." So we got back. We got the van back. We were staying at Uncle Mike's house because he was living with Grandma. He was living at Grandma's house. So we just pulled the van in the backyard, and it was like 3 or 4 in the morning at this point. And so we just decided we're not going to wake everybody up. We're just going to sleep out in the van. So we would just start the van up everywhere, run air conditioner. We slept out there until Mike come out there and swung the doors open and said, "Y'all getting up today?" And I was like, "Oh, kill me now," because that was a rough morning when we did that one. But we don't do stuff like that anymore. I'm too old for all that now. No, I never could con your dad into going and doing stuff. Even when we took your dad out for his bachelor party, he wasn't having much fun. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love your mother to death. Your mother's a wonderful woman, and your dad's a great guy too. But yeah, we took him to the topless clubs. He wouldn't go. We took him everywhere. He wasn't going. I was, but he wasn't going. He was just like, "Oh no."
Like, okay, well, I'll leave you outside.
Okay.
Have fun.
But
no, I buy that. I believe you. He's probably scared of my grandpa too.
I don't know. Yeah, your grandfather was the matriarch for sure. There was the patriarch,
The
excuse me.
patriarch, yeah.
Yep, he was the patriarch. Usually when he spoke, everybody listened. So and my wife loved him to death. She thought he was just the greatest individual. She was heartbroken when we couldn't go down there when he passed away, and she wanted to go, but we couldn't do it. I was stuck, and so it's one of those things. But
yeah.
But anyway, don't want to drag it down. We loved him. We miss him, and we'll all meet up again someday. And I gotta get hold of your dad too, and see if when he's gonna come on with me, because I just don't have anything to rat him out on, though. He just didn't. I mean, when we were kids, we'd throttle each other as much as we could when we were kids. But as we kind of got a little older and a little wilder, he just kind of calmed down. He kind of stayed even keeled, and good for him. Hey, trust me, good for him that he did, because I lost my damn mind for about 25 years. So it was, it's kind of one of those things. But yeah, I tell people, it's, you can only do sex, drugs, and rock and roll for so long. Then you have to grow up and you have to kind of knock it off. And so, we did okay. We had a good time, but we survived it, and kind of, sort of, I don't know if I say I survived it very well, but I'm doing all right.
You're doing fine. You're doing good.
Well, I'm so glad you came on to visit with me. It was
Me
good to see
too.
you.
Thank you so much for having me, Gavin.
Well, it's been a long time. I wanted to see you. I wanted to visit with you. I want to talk to you about work, and I'm so glad you're doing well with all your voiceover work, and John's doing good selling pizza. And is he got anything else? Has he got anything else coming up, or is he just
He's just always got stuff going on. Just a lot more social content stuff, and then our stuff. Yep. Got a lot of our stuff going on. So
how many videos do you guys have posted now?
I could tell. Let's see. It'll probably say, let me look. How many videos? 65 posts.
I got some catching up to do.
Yeah.
I think I'd only seen like 4 or 5 of them. But yeah. I'll say this again: there you are. And I will tell you guys this again: you have to find the one with the fortune cookie, because that was a good one. And I'm gonna go check out some of the other ones. And it's on YouTube, and it's Vagina.
Vagina. Vajona.
Vanessa, thank you so very much for coming on with me today and visiting. It was so good to see you. I'm glad you're doing okay, and congratulations on the little one. I'm glad John's good and everybody's healthy, and you guys just stay safe out there, please.
We will.
It seems like there's all kinds of just too much craziness going on in the world right now, and you guys y'all just be safe out there, okay? Because it's you just never know. And come back to Texas, would you? For God's sakes. You can't be Californians the rest of your life. I'll have to disown you.
My daughter's already an Angelino.
Oh, no. Oh, good. Where was she? Was she born out there? Was she born in Texas?
Yeah. No,
she was born. Okay, okay. I could not remember. I just ever since COVID, I've kind of lost track of time. It's really weird.
I know it.
I know, and I know that was a lot of the problem out there was COVID and the writers and actors strike. I was told that was a big issue too. So
big deal.
Well, like I said, you let John know, that Sheridan's built this, and Paramount have built this huge studio just right north of Fort Worth. You guys could come on out, and we'll find you some jobs, and tell.
All right,
tell
maybe
John,
we'll come on out and just knock on their door.
And tell John if he gets on any Sheridan stuff and he's here in the area, just let me know. We'll have to go to lunch or something.
I know.
That's what I told Arthur. I told Arthur, I said, if you get on it, you got to come find me. We'll go to lunch. We'll hang out for the day or whatever you can afford. So
Absolutely.
Again, love, thank you so much. I love you, John, the baby, your family. It was so good to talk to you. You look great. You just keep doing what you're doing, okay? And if there's anything you need, if you ever want to come on, all you got to do is just ring me up and I'll make the time for you, always.
Awesome.
All right. So everybody, again, Vanessa Marroquin Richardson, my cousin's daughter. I don't know what are we? We're like, you're like a first cousin removed, I believe.
Third cousin. So,
It's
yeah,
it's
I don't know.
it's a cousin removed or something. That doesn't matter. We're family
Who
or whatever.
cares?
Who cares? Nobody cares. So you take care of yourself. You hug that baby for me. Tell John I said hi. And again, Vanessa, Marroquin, Richardson, check them out on YouTube. Vagina. I said it right. I said it properly. And you guys will get a kick out of those. And also just keep watching her or keep listening for her voice in Barbie and all the other stuff that you're doing, because it sounds like you're doing a lot right now. So I'm so glad for that. So, but until then, you guys, I will let you know, and I'll let you know. I'll holler at you when this posts up. This should be. I'll probably have it. It'll probably be up tomorrow sometime, but I will let you know when it's up, and I'll holler at you. So until then, again, love you. You guys take care of yourselves. You stay out of trouble. All right. You're out in LA. So y'all just keep your head on a swivel for me, would you? Do that.
We will.
Okay. You take care of yourself. Much love, everybody. Y'all take it easy, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for joining Epic Stage Journeys and then some. Stay well, and we'll see you down the road.